Age is not a barrier to chess progress. A lot of players strongly believe that when a player gets very old, they don't perform very well, and this is quite common. And most of the case, it happens when you analyze the statistics and probability. That's the case. But however, there are so many exceptions also, which we must understand. There are few players also who were very old, but they also had so many challenges in their chess career, but still they overcame. And I would like to show some examples about these players. Vasily Smyslov was a world champion, and he was able to make it only at the age of 41. And he was so famous. And there are also many players like him, but the only thing is these players are not world champion, so nobody remembers them actually. So I would like to remind some players who had very strong mental agility. Okay, so one such player is Grandmaster Granda Zuniga. So he's from South America. So when I went through his game, I found that his rating started going up more and more when he started becoming older. So he's he's getting older and he's getting stronger. So for me, it was a big surprise because I never seen anybody whose rating is going up in FIDE when they become older. Usually when they are young, they reach a peak, and when they become old, their rating starts slowly going down. And some players you take Korchnoi or Karpov, for them they maintain. There won't be much drop, but they will just maintain it, because of the consistency they have. They have a great consistency, so they maintain. Even with Gary Kasparov, is strong. Okay, and they are actually maintaining. They're not. It's not going much down, you know. And old players, the people with more age, the challenging factors are really with the emotional control and stress level. So they also have great advantage. You should know, they have great experience. Their experience is really great. They have seen a lot of things in chess, but sometimes they won't be able to make it up somehow because there are many challenging factors. Even in Gary Kasparov's book, also he has told many things about how life imitates chess. Okay, so but there are solution also. There is solution also, how to overcome the age factor. It's all about mindset. It's when you strongly believe something, that means that's going to happen. This is the hidden scientific fact. You think you won't be able to perform, then you won't. You want to take a chance and you try, you can. So I'll show some games. Okay, this game, Granda Zuninga, at the age of 49, he uh, he increased his rating to 2699, almost 1 point for 2700. He didn't reach 2700, but 2699. But anyway, that 1 point is not going to decide his caliber because he has proved something that he is so strong in chess. He has proved something that it is possible to take your rating up. Okay, it was his mindset, and I have a great respect for Mr. Granda Zuninga. So I would like to show some of his games, but I think we can see one game today with Anish Giri. We all know Anish Giri was quite popular. These players are always in the top 10, and Granda Zuninga defeated Anish Giri a couple of times. Okay, and this game I wanted to show because this is the game which he played in 2017. In 2016, Granda Zuninga went to 2699, and then 2017, okay, he played with Anish Giri. So I'll show a few important ideas how Granda plays here. So Anishgiri playing white went with knight f3. So Granda played knight f6, developing move. So g3. So this bishop is going to get here, and they try to put long-term pressure on this diagonal. So d5, can understand. So Granda is playing d5, getting the pawn to the center. So bishop g2 and c6. So putting lot of pawns on the way of the bishop. So which makes the bishop to play, which makes the bishop play very harder on this diagonal. These kind of ideas were long back used by Stenitz also. So there are some games which I saw. Stenitz also used these kind of ideas, but not the same opening. It's in another opening, but in a different version. The ideas are quite similar. Okay, so c6, so c4. So he wants to open this diagonal, and Granda plays bishop g4. Okay, bishop g4. A lot of players don't really play bishop g4 at this point, because bishop g4 sometimes it allows knight e5, and then the bishop has to go back. But Granda plays it because knight e5. He again brings the bishop to e6. Now again there's an attack here, so this is okay. So there's no much problem. So he just played that. So d4, and we have to develop the other pieces. So knight d7. So there's an attempt to ruin the pawn chain if it's allowed. So knight a3. So white is also developing the pieces quickly, and before we develop, it's not so clear how we can create an attack, because we need development. Once we have development, and there is a good chances. Okay, remaining all the chances are 50-50. It's not like so clear. It might work or might not work. It's always risky. So the best thing to do is to get your pieces very quickly before we take this. So we just play g6. So castle, and then he completes the development very quickly. So pawn takes. Okay. Now black has three options. Three standard options. I think it's four. Knight we can take on e5. I don't think so. This is so strong, because if we do that, they are going to take d takes e6, which is lost. So knight takes, c takes, and bishop d5. These are few options. Okay, this bishop is quite strong. So Anishgiri wants to try some tricks on this diagonal. So Granda understands this. This is experience. Okay, so he just plays bishop d5 because he wants to get rid of this bishop. So Anishgiri plays pawn to f3, and then pawn is going to go to e4. Okay, we can just complete the development. As I told you, without development, it's always risky. If you try some attack, the chances of working is very difficult. So we can just play queen b6. Okay, queen b6 makes sense because Granda is aiming at this diagonal, and then now knight e5 is a strong threat. So king h1, rook d8. He plays rook d8. The idea is he's bringing the piece directly in front of the queen line. Okay, so this is a very strong strategical play, aiming at opponent's pieces. Okay, so his alignment was really great here. So white plays e4. White attacks the bishop. We have mobility for the bishop. The bishop can go to e6, so there's a square here. So nothing to worry. We can just play bishop to e6. Yes. Okay. So knight c4. So now the queen is under attack. So you can take your time and find a way to gain a strong tempo, because we don't want to lose some timing by playing queen c7. If we go queen c7, they are going to play bishop f4. So we lose some timing here and it's not so good. So we can play for a tempo here. Queen to a6. That's what played in the game. So queen a6. So hitting the knight. So knight went to e3. It looks like defy is coming. But still, this rook is there, so which makes defy very difficult. Okay. So here white has to develop the other pieces. The bishop on c1. Soon he has to get this bishop out. So now Granda plays a very strong move. Knight to c5. Okay. So knight c5. So this is also very unpleasant for white, because they won't be able to move the bishop. The d4 pawn is hanging and the d pawn is pinned. Also the knight is ready to go to g3, I mean d3. So we can aim for the double bishop pair. Okay, so this is one general idea. We'll see how the game goes. So white plays e5. Okay, e5 attacks the knight, but it creates a weakness on d5. The square d5 is getting weak now because no pawns to control. This is weak, and so the obvious move is going to be knight d5. So white wants to take this, but it's not possible because of knight e3. If they take, we have knight e3 coming. Not difficult to spot, quite easy, because the pawn chain are messed up, and even we can take this also. Anyway, it's winning. So after knight d5, so white took with the knight. So we have to take with the rook. If we don't take with the rook, they are going to take the knight on c5. So we have to take with the rook. So black takes the knight with the rook. Okay, still there's pressure, and bishop e5 is also coming. Okay, so Anish Giri plays pawn to f4, making this into chain pawns. That's fine. And attacking the rook. But here Granda never went rook d7. Rook d7 is possible here. We can just move there. It's highly playable move. But Granda had a feel that exchange of this light square bishop is going to put a lot of pressure in the diagonal. So he too understands about the compensation. I've already explained in another lesson about the compensation. Gary is the king of compensation. Okay, so compensation you should know, like long-term compensation. Okay, so it's going to create problems on the light squares. If not now, later on. Okay, so Zuninga plays knight to d3, ignores the attack on d5 and gets the knight to d3. This is a very strong move, but Anish took. He probably thought this attack is not so strong. That's the reason he might have took the bishop, because he might have felt that this bishop wouldn't be joining the game because it's blocked by the pawn. Okay, so Grandad takes with bishop d5. So we have to keep the bishop active. So king has to move to g1. Okay, so we have to complete the development. Only then the rooks will be able to join the game. So castle. Okay, so Grandad is so comfortable with this position. His bishop has a very strong square on d5, and it also gives a strong feel to him that something is going to happen on this diagonal. Okay, so knight went to c2. Anish Giri is holding the pawn on d4. Okay, we can get the rook. So Grandad is making sure all his pieces are active. So if not, soon he is going to activate. This bishop alone is not into the game right now. All these remaining pieces are good. Okay. So b3. Anish Giri plays b3, trying to get the bishop out. And Grandad creates a strong hold in the center. Very strong hold by playing f5. If white wants to destroy this stronghold, let's say if they capture, then that would activate the bishop, which is not good for white, because this bishop is now more powerful and so many threats are there in the diagonal in future. So they won't be able to capture this. So he strongly plays f5, creating a very strong hold on e4 square. Okay. So white plays bishop a3. So the e7 pawn is under attack. Okay, now you can think for a moment and come up with a very strong plan for black. How did black deal this? So it looks like rook d7 or rook 8, but these are not really good moves, and this is not the way to play a dynamic chess. So Grandad plays a very strong move, super strong move. I would say this is a super strong move. He ignores the threat on e7 and he plays bishop to e4. We can see the pieces coordination. So the point is, if Anish takes on e7, then this diagonal is going to come under attack very shortly. After rook d4, very powerful rook into d4, and it's completely lost for white, because if they take knight takes, we have queen b6, and this looks so great, you know, even if they play rook f2 or whatever, this looks really great. So this is completely winning for black. So for bishop a3, Grandad plays bishop e4. So he's threatening to capture on d4. Okay. So bishop e7 is not possible here. So he had to try something else. So in the game, Anish Giri played queen d2. Okay, he's connecting the rooks. And his plan is to take on e7, because later if rook d4 comes, they can take, and they will be able to defend the knight with the queen. So that is the idea. So that is the reason he played queen d2. And now Granda's pawn on e7 is hanging, but still he didn't defend. He's trying to open this line. Can you see what is coming here? c5, very strong, opening the rook line. And also it's opened the queen's line on the 6th rank. So Anish took, because he thought knight c5 isn't coming, because queen d8 is there. Okay, now Granda finds a very strong attacking plan. See, he's got all the pieces except this bishop. This is going to join soon. Okay, so king side, you can see like they are having problems. Like many squares are in black's control, even though there is no direct way to win, but still the king's mobility is very bad here. They don't have any square. So Granda finds a way to reach the king. So whenever you attack, you have to get your major pieces into the attack. So Granda is aiming to get the queen to their king's side. So he makes a very powerful move. Pawn g5, ready to join the attack. See, very strong. So g f4 and queen g6 is coming. So strong break. Also, this pawn is going to fall later if they take. So g5. So in the game, Anish took, and Granda plays bishop takes. So now he has got all these pieces into the game. So this is really great. All his pieces are very active, and now the chances are very high to give a strong attack on the white king, because all these pieces are active now. All these pieces are active now, and still king has no mobility. So rook d1, and then he gets the queen to the play. So queen g6. So he's ready to attack this side. So Anish plays queen e3, and there's a good coordination between these pieces. Okay, the rook is holding the knight, and these bishops are ideally placed. So he has to open this line. So he goes for h6. h6 very strong, because h6 they went bishop c1. We will see what happens if they take. The g pawn is pinned, so that means it won't be able to move. So you can take advantage of the pinned pawn. Okay, so you can take advantage of this weakness. So we can go f4. So the attack is going on. So now the king is more vulnerable, and the queen is also under threat. The king is vulnerable, and they won't be able to play rook f4, because we have bishop f4. That would win the piece. So h6, strongly played. So this is very strong move. h6. So bishop went to c1 in the game. Try to exchange the queen. Okay. So Anish Giri wants to exchange the queen. Okay, because the attack is more stronger when the queen is there, and if the queen is exchanged, there could be some relief. So that's the idea why he played bishop to c1. But here Granda comes up with a super strong plan. Can you think for a moment and come up with a very strong plan? Black to play. Okay, Granda wants to get the rook to the g file, so he just moves the king. So he's ready to get the rook to the g file to create a strong attack. So Anish Giri holds, but this weakens the g3 pawn. And then here is an amazing move which Granda plays. Pawn g5. So queen g5, I mean pawn g5, pawn g5. So queen g5, and then white wants to get the queen exchange, but Granda allows it and plays rook g8. This is so powerful, creating a very strong threat on the g6 anyway. Because if Anish takes, Granda would take, and this is so great, you know. The pieces are so active, and this is very strong. So the pressure is too strong. Even if they take on e7, we can play rook here. Very strong. Moves like queen g5 also won't help because black is more faster. Bishop g3. And the king side will collapse. So finally black white tried to give up the material back. So in the game he found this attack is really strong. bg3 is the main threat here, so he just gave the rook for the knight. Black takes it, but now he has the double bishop pair, and still the attack is so strong. So rook to e1, attacking the bishop. So now we have to gain some time. So bishop f6. It's very important to protect the e7 pawn. So bishop f6 attacks the queen on g5. So he has to take, and then we can take with the rook, and there's an attack going there. Okay, the knight is under attack, the pawns are attacked, and the material is even, like two minor pieces and one rook. Both of them have the same, but the pawns are really weak for white. So that decides the game. So knight went to b4. Okay, this knight is attacking the bishop. Now the bishop can go to d5. So this is experience. See, he is not in a hurry to take this pawn. Okay, because he feels this knight is weaker. He doesn't want to exchange this bishop for this knight, even though he wins material after rook g3. So this is experience. So knight b4, and he plays bishop to d5. See, very strong. This knight has no mobility, so this bishop is more strong. So this knight has no mobility. Now there's a threat on g3. Okay, already the threat is there, so he's just waiting for the right time to take there. Bishop c3 is also one threat coming. So he moved to e2. Okay, but this knight is not having many good squares to move. Anyway, we can take on g3. But before we do that, we can first play pawn to a5. Because after pawn a5, this knight has no good squares. So he resigned here. Anish Giri resigned here. He didn't even continue. Because if he plays knight c2, we can just take on g3 and king f1 or h1. Anyway, rook c3 is so strong. Okay, the position breaks. Also, he has great pawn structure, and white's pawns are weak. So going back, you can see. So this is the most instructive moment of the game. Granda plays knight d3. So the compensation was long term, and he got a very strong play later. Okay, so we can see more ideas in the upcoming lessons. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you.